because we got some new people from Sean's group. So why don't we just get started? And those that drag in, that's on them. I may let them in, may not. That's what happens when you show up late. So with that said, welcome everybody. For those of you guys all know me, Russ Lagan here. So pretty much everybody's in my family tree here in my organization somewhere. And this is only a small cross-section of what's left of what I had built 2, 3, 4 years ago. So good news is some familiar faces here. So welcome Sean Bates. If you guys don't know Sean Bates, he's out of Tampa. Been a good buddy of mine for years. I guess close enough I officiated his wedding. So why don't you say hi, Sean? He's like unmuted.
Sorry, I muted myself so that way it wouldn't, make noise in the background. So what's going on, guys?
Hey, Sean, how are you?
Good.
Good to have you on here. I threw this out to Sean. He was asking me some questions and he's like, hey, can I have access to some of that other stuff? And I'm like, man, I'm doing this for Dale's group. Why don't you start throwing your group on this group and we'll just keep on moving forward because we're talking about pretty much all the same stuff across the board. These sessions are really pushed by Dale saying, hey man, can you talk to the team and help the team grow their business and how do we grow our business and all that stuff. So this just shortcuts me having 7 one-on-one conversations and you guys should learn a lesson from this. So as a leader, you should start working more when your groups get larger, when you've got nothing else to do, work everybody one-on-one. When you start getting busier and you get more people in your sphere and more people in your system and more people on your team, as a good leader, you got to provide a forum of some sort to get for people to have access to you on a regular basis. The ones that want it are going to come. I don't get upset about the people that aren't here. If they don't care enough to be here, that's on them. Now, if they call me at 7 o'clock tonight and start talking to me and asking me questions about working their sphere of influence, they're going to get the other side of Russ, which is the business guy, Russ, the not as nice guy, Russ, which says, hey, you should have showed up this morning instead of wasting my time calling me at 7 o'clock just because now it's convenient for you. So you have to, as a good leader, protect your environment, protect yourself. When you're working with customers and clients, you have accessibility between here and here. When they start breaching outside of that, say, hey, if this is super important, I'll talk to you anytime. But if it's not, I'm going to return it the next day. So if you don't hear from me later tonight, you'll get a call first thing in the morning tomorrow. That keeps people from being upset and being frustrated and being aggravated with you. And learning how to communicate with each other is super, super, super important. Okay, so make sure you're really clear on how you're communicating with your people, how you are going to communicate with your people, when you'll communicate with your people. And then what you'll find is you have a lot less frustration, a lot less arguments. Pretty cool, right? So with that said, I'm going to try to do this every Wednesday. There are some weeks when I'm traveling, I just can't do it. So next week I'm still here. So plan on being here next week. And what I'll do is I'll update you guys as the weeks go. All right. So if you're here, we'll go. And then the team leads, Sean, Dale, anybody else, just relay out to people that are showing up. And I'll keep you guys up to speed on what my schedule is. So I think next week I'm still in town. The week after that, I believe I'm out. So with that said, let's go back to a recap of last week, and I want you guys to help out. Jeff already started grabbing stuff and running with it. Let me give you guys my overall. This is my new recipe, my new favorite stick figure recipe. I'll stand over to this side here. This is my new favorite stick figure recipe. My goal and my drive in my position as regional director of growth is going to be to talk to people more about selling houses. EXP from the top down should be talking more about selling houses. Guess what, guys? We're a house sale business. Should be talking about house sales a lot. And by the way, when you sell more houses, you're going to make more money. So instead of focusing on telling everybody to be chasing $300 checks, I want you guys chasing $12,000 checks. And in the meantime, when you do that, you're going to be making more money. People that make more money are going to attract more people. Because people want to be around people that make more money. They don't go, hey man, you sold 4 houses last year. How did you do it? Said nobody ever. Like, oh my gosh, I want to be just like you. You sold 4 houses. Now listen, if you're at 0, 4's an improvement. But I will tell you, even then, that's still not their goal. I don't know a single person that got into this business to sell less than 10 houses a year. I don't know a single person in this business, when I look at them and ask them this question, that will answer me anything other than, yes. Do you want to sell at least 1 home per month? Yes. Are you okay with selling less than 1 home per month? No. Nobody's ever said yes, right? Nobody's ever said yes. So if you're not doing that, that's our number one priority, is get you selling houses, making money. Focus on $12,000 checks, right? Once we get that nailed, once you get that moving, and in the process of getting that moving, every once in a while, somebody's gonna say, hey man, what are you doing over there? That's when you put your hand out and you give them a little tug, right? Pull them in our direction. Okay. In the meantime, don't worry about chasing real estate agents. If you do a good job with the house sales stuff, you do a good job being a leader, you do a good job of promoting and talking the things that we do, that we're talking about. If you do a good job with that, other people are going to notice. Heck, I noticed. I don't even know this Jeff Forrester guy, but I noticed. I was like, hey, wait a minute. That guy's talking. Wait a minute. I know where that came from. I see that, right? People start to notice something a little bit different because they recognize it, right? And other people will start coming back out, right? What'll happen is you'll have people going, yeah, I know you. Yeah, I know you. Or yeah, hey, I'm willing to talk to you. Okay, so let's focus on selling houses. So last week, what did we talk about last week, guys? Jump on in.
Be a credible resource.
Okay, good. Be a resource. Okay. Be a resource of what?
Of information. So people, like you said earlier, so they're attracted to want to follow you, listen to you, because you're going to provide them, not, hey, if you want to buy or sell a house, call me. It's, hey, I need to go check out Jeff because he's adding value to my everyday life.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. If they are in the market, people in the market, when I ask random strangers, do you want to follow a real estate agent, or do you want to follow a real estate expert?
Expert.
Would you rather have an agent or an expert? Right. So here's the thing, guys. Should you be a real estate expert?
Yeah.
Should you be a real estate expert? Only if you want to get paid like one. Right? I stood in a room in Houston last week and I said to the people in the room, how many of you are a real estate expert? And everybody in the room put their hands up. I was like, hey guys, I just went around this room and asked you how many sales you had in the last year. And I will tell you definitively, you are not a real estate expert. You might think you're a real estate expert, but you're not actually a real estate expert because you're not even being paid close to one, right? I think the highest sales in that room at that point early on, when if this is the new people group, the big one was 4 sales for the last year, right? 4 sales is not a real estate expert. Now, can you become an expert before you do a lot of sales? Absolutely. Should you probably strive to become a real estate expert before you do a lot of sales? Yeah, I will tell you, you're not going to do a lot of sales before people start thinking you're an expert. So expert first, then sales. The good news is they were on the right path, because we're going to start talking like an expert. We're going to start relaying information like an expert and being a resource like an expert. Okay. So if you walk like an expert, talk like an expert, drop out stuff like an expert, guess what people are going to think you are?
An expert.
Hopefully. Oh, he's just a realtor. So they might not get the memo yet. So should you be doing different experty stuff? All right. Do we know who Lady Ray Hernandez is? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I don't have people, when I don't recognize somebody, I want to make sure I'm not pulling people in here that are just stealing our stuff. That's been happening quite a bit. All right. So we're controlling access. All right. So when we're talking like an expert, there is a number of things that we talked about to say, hey, if I want to sell more houses on a regular basis and not chase people, right? Not chasing people. I want to sell more houses and not chase people. What are some of the things that we need to do?
Provide value, market updates, educate.
Value. Okay, and under that value category, said market update. Okay, so this is a great review for you guys. Some of you saw this last week, and I guarantee you didn't get all of it, right? Heck, you get all of it in about a year. I could have the same conversation every week for a year, and you guys will be like, oh man, I got to be doing that, right? Because you're going to add pieces and parts and puzzle, right? So you're going to do a market update. What else are you doing?
Talking about real estate. every day, consistently with everybody,
Yeah.
because that's what we do.
Real estate stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a couple things that we added in that category last week so that you guys have the ability to say, okay, well, Russ, what kind of real estate stuff, right? So on Saturday, when I was in Houston, I was standing in front of this group. There's about 35 people in the room. And I said, okay, guys, every time I say something that you don't know how to do, I need you to yell how. Every time you're at a training session and somebody's like, hey, man, what you need to do is you got to work your sphere, man. You got to work your sphere. And then they move on. You're like, no, hold on. Like, how? Right? Because there's people telling you what to do, but they're not telling you how to do it. It's like, man, you got to go make something that tastes amazing. And your next question is, how? Like, if I don't know how, okay, if I know how to do that, no big deal, right? Okay, got it. I've got a couple recipes on the top of my head. I can walk into the store, get every ingredient I need, come back out, go to my house, prepare that. And at the end of that, it's pretty damn tasty. Okay. I've got a couple of those in my repertoire that I could just off the top of my head pull them out, right? So when somebody says, Russ, make me something amazing, boom, gotcha. If you don't have that, the next question out of your mouth is how? Like how? Show me how. Don't just give me, well, what you need to do is a market update. How? Right? Like you guys, your job right now, as you're going through this with me here, is just keep screaming how. Right? If you don't know, say how. Like how do we do that, Russ? Like how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we add value? Great. Market update. How? Real estate stuff. How? Okay, so what I don't want to do with you guys is like a lot of trainers, teachers, and coaches do. They don't give you the nuts and bolts exactly what to do, and then you got to kind of have to fumble through it, and you have to guess, and you have to wonder. You're kind of making it up. You're winging it. Like, hey, man, by the way, you're going to get judged on this dish, and if you do a good job, you get a $12,000 check. If you don't do a good job, you get zero. It's all or nothing. That's really kind of what's at stake on some of this stuff. If I do a good job on this, it's a $12,000 paycheck. Could potentially be a $12,000 paycheck or zero, right? So ask the questions, figure out the how. And if you don't know the nuts and bolts of the how, we'll keep talking about it until we do, okay? So what else did we talk about last week? You guys like,
I wasn't here, so I can't answer that.
you don't have to, don't feel guilty, Sean. You're fine. You weren't here.
I want to answer. I feel like I might know the answers.
I'll let Anthony off the hook too. I'll even let Anna off the hook.
We talk about the market, how
How's the market, the shift in the market? That's
the
what I'm-
shift on the market.
Yeah, right. So
And then adding context.
adding context to it. Good. So let's dig into that a little bit more. Is the market shifting?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Is the market getting destroyed?
No.
No.
No. Is the market shift normal?
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes. I'm giving you specific words to use here, guys. So when I do a real estate market post, and I've seen a couple of you guys do some recently, which is great, and I want you to continue to do them, say, here's what the market did. You guys might have heard the market did this. Well, guess what? That's normal. A market can't be like, hey, we're coming out of a drought. And guess what? It's starting to get wet. Well, no shit, Sherlock. That's what happens when it stops being a drought. It rains more when it's not a drought. Is that normal? Yeah. So people are going, oh my God, it's raining all the time. It's not even raining normal yet. Could you guys use that in a quick post? Right? Hey, we've been in a real estate drought, and guess what? It's starting to rain, and that's a good thing. The sky isn't falling. It's called rain. Get used to it. And by the way, it's still not even raining enough. Man, I'm going to do that as my own YouTube video. You guys don't use that one. I'm keeping that one. That was a good one. Okay, so you got,
I have a thought for you.
yeah, bring it.
So what I like to do, I had this conversation with Anthony earlier today, as it was or is be somewhat contrarian to everything that you're reading. So obviously what we see in the news all the time is like doom and gloom, like the real estate market is crashing. I keep seeing it now, but it's always like, oh, that's on Facebook, so that can't be real. Like
Yeah.
Be contrarian and actually look at the headline and then figure out, okay, is that headline grabbing attention just to get them to read it, or is there any truth to it?
Yeah.
Because there's certain things in the market that if you really sit and analyze what is happening right now, you can then turn around and use that as information that you can share with your clients. It's going to give them immense value that nobody else is talking about right now. So an example that I told Anthony, this morning I saw, actually, I have it here unread in my email so that I can go back and create a video about it later today, is single family starts drop 8.1%. So that's from Florida Realtors News, okay? So I'm like, this is fantastic. I didn't even read the article yet, but I'm already like, I already know what I'm gonna talk about, because that's a headline that's out to spell doom and gloom.
Yeah.
So we know that, single family homes, the builders are not building what they used to. Well, if you read the what the builders have been doing since 2005, they've been building at a deficit. So you have to know that the builders build at a deficit because they control pricing that way.
Yep.
If they build too much inventory, they have to lower prices. So as prices are starting to come down a little bit, why would builders want to build more inventory, which is going to further drive down the prices of the homes they're building? Builders right now are going to pull back on purpose on the amount of inventory they're putting in the ground, because they have to hold those prices up from what they've been selling, or else they're going to lose money. So you're going to see builders pull back on starts because of the fact that they want to control prices. They'll give incentives for the stuff that's out there. They'll start paying us again, which we've already seen that they're, sending out emails. We have inventory, 3% commission. It's like, screw you, Mr. Builder, But be contrarian to what's in the news and actually read into it and understand it, so that you can share the real value with your people to say, hey, this is not doom and gloom. This is what they're doing on purpose. This has nothing to do with all this other stuff. It's not market crash. This is them hedging their bet, making sure that they're profitable. Two totally different things.
Yeah. So it's interesting how you see the line that gets your attention and then ask the question, what does it really mean? Right. So the one thing you could start talking about when you're talking about posting things that are real estate stuff related, hey, you might have seen this. Right. Hey, you might have seen a bunch of people posting that the real estate market, actually inventory went up in our market 15%. What you didn't hear is what that means is we're now at a 1.4 month supply of homes. So if the inventory went up 200 more percent, if it doubled again and then doubled again, we're still a seller's market. So going up 15% is great. And that's exactly like if we had a drought, we'd be happy it's raining. And that's exactly what we've been going. We've had a drought of sellers, so we're happy it's raining. So it's good. Now, if it rains for 40 days and 40 nights and we start overflowing rivers, we got a problem. But you guys are going to hear me talking about that. So when I say, hey, by the way, the river's rising, better get your boat ready, that's when we're going to have a problem. But we got to get north of 5 and 6 and 7 month supply of homes at a really rapid rate. And I don't even see that happening, because what's happening is more houses come on the market and then the buyers have been sitting on the sidelines are buying them up. They're just not buying them up at bat snot crazy prices. They're being more realistic. Okay. So here's another one for you. I know Jeff Forrester's going to use this one today. You may have seen there's been a bunch of price reductions in our market. And yes, while it is technically called a price reduction, it's not really a reduction as much as it's a reality check. So you get a seller that comes out in the market and he says, hey man, my neighbor sold his house for $500K, he put his house on the market for $500K, and he got $50,000 over asking price. So I'm just going to put my house on the market at $550,000. You know what? As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it at $575,000. So I'm just going to build in my own overage right out of the gate. And then the buyers go out in the market and go, I'm not 100% certain it's going to go bat snot crazy over the next 5 years. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative. So not only am I not even going to bother talking to this guy, but that guy's crazy. And then 500 really is what the house price should be. So is it really a price reduction, or is it actually a right sizing of, well, hey guys, did you know McDonald's is giving you less Coke in every meal, less Coca-Cola. They made their cups smaller. Listen, their cups were redonkulous to begin with. They should be smaller. Okay. So it's the same type of concept, but people are like, but they made it smaller. Yeah, because it wasn't the right size in the first place, right? So should it have been 500? Yeah. So when they listed 575, it doesn't go under contract, and they drop it to 550 and it doesn't go under contract, and they drop it to $5. Man, they did $75,000 worth of price reductions. No, they were $75,000 overpriced. They're finally at the price they should have been. So we have to be telling that story. Now, here's the thing. You're going to see this other stuff, and you don't want to take swings at other realtors in the business, because that's not healthy for you long term, because you'll end up in a bunch of crazy fights with a bunch of crazy people who don't even understand what you're doing. You cannot get into a fight with a stupid person. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Right? So don't argue with stupid people. Okay, don't even argue with them. Like, hey, if you don't like what I posted, fine, no big deal. It's my perspective. You have a perspective, I have a perspective. I voiced mine, you voiced yours. We don't agree, that's fine, no big deal. Don't worry about it. Let's compare notes again in a year. Okay, so you can say stuff like, you might have seen this. Now, don't go straight after every single post that a certain person in your market does and target their stuff and counter post everything they do. I would vary it, market it differently, spread it around a little bit. Have you seen this? Have you seen what Tony posted yet? Don't do that, right? But can you do that? Say, hey, you might have seen this out in the market. And let me tell you the rest of the story. Does an expert just give you an answer, or do they tell you the rest of the story? They tell you the rest of the story, mostly. People that can make it understandable to others are people that are going to get paid big dollars to make it understandable. You guys understand why Einstein was so unbelievably popular? He was a nice guy. He was an interesting guy. Did some weird crap, of course. Made really stuff super interesting. Dang, that was. Gosh, Anthony, why's your dog barking, man? Why is Sean's dog barking in your office? I'll fix that. Damn dog. All right, so take things that are complicated and make it make sense to normal people. Normal people don't know what we know. Even if you don't feel like an expert, you still know a lot more about real estate than most people. So start talking about things that people want to hear. Start making sense of it. You might have seen this. You might have seen inventory levels have gone up. That's good. We've been in a drought. It's great when it rains after a drought. Okay. So what else do we need to be talking about? I don't know. Okay, so real estate stuff. So let's go backwards and break down the market update stuff, so you got the full story on that too. So here's a reminder. On market update, we should be doing a hyper local market update. Okay, hyper local, that's like 4, 5, 6 miles, your immediate town, within your smack dab wheelhouse, within this specific market. Now, it doesn't have to be the market you are standing in, but you probably should do your own market so you can sell houses in your own neighborhood. Hey, I live in your neighborhood. Nobody wants your house to be worth more money than me because I live in this neighborhood, okay? So hyper local, you want to do a hyper local market update. Make sure everybody immediately around you that you immediately touch on a regular basis, understand what's going on in your hyper local market. Okay. How many times did we say to post that? You're going to do that 1 time per month. 1 market update per month for hyper local. How many times are you going to post it?
Once per month.
I'm going to post that bad boy 2 times. I'm going to post it today. Hey, just in case you didn't know what's going on in the market, you're hearing a lot of crazy stuff going on in the market. Here's the real estate market update for Livonia, Michigan. July numbers. Well, we're in July. These are June numbers just came out. I'm going to do that video, blah, 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 blah. Here, by the way, you might have heard the market went up 15% inventory. Yes, inventory went up. It went up from all-time lows, which means it should go up. Statistically, it had to go up. Barring a nuclear war, inventory is going to go up. So with that said, this is a good thing, right? We want the inventory to be up at a 4 or 5 or 6 month supply of homes. So the inventory will have to triple to be able to get up to normal. So it's still not a normal market. Is it heading the right direction? Slowly, yes. And that's a good thing. Now, if it goes blowing by 5 and 6 months supply of homes, we might have a problem. but I'll be telling you that story when we get there. Okay. So if you're thinking about buying a house right now, still a good time to buy a house. Even if the house doesn't go up $1 in the next year, you buy a $300,000 house today and it doesn't go up $1, it beats the heck out of throwing away 100% of your rent this year over the next year. So if your rent is $1,500 a month, you threw away $18,000 guaranteed, 100% guaranteed loss of $18,000. If I own a house, it goes down $0, goes flat, which I don't even think that will happen. You're still $18,000 ahead. So if you're thinking about buying a house, there's one reason why to do it. Bam. Okay. That's the kind of thing for a hyper local market update. Okay. You could do a separate post just saying, hey, there are buyers right now that are scared because of interest rates going up. Well, interest rates are still at historical lows, still below national averages over the last 40, 50 years. With that being said, it's still, even if the interest rate was 12% and doubled plus, it would still be better than guaranteeing throwing away $18,000 a year on rent. So if you're renting a house right now and saying, boy, interest rates are way up there. Well, right now you're throwing away $18,000, which is 100% interest rate, right? 100% of your dollars going away. Or would you rather take that, even if it was 10 or 12%, still puts more money in your pocket, right? So at the end of 30 years of paying the bill for living in a house, you're going to pay $18,000 times 30 years, or even if your house price doesn't go up $1 and you pay interest, at the end of 30 years, your house is still worth $300,000 if it doesn't go up a dime, and you get to keep all $300,000. So at the end of 30 years, you're going to buy somebody a house, your landlord or yourself. Pick one. You can do a video post just for that. Would that speak to today's market? Could you repeat that? Sure. So your video real estate market, hyper local market update context, you're going to post that. And then you're going to post it again 3 days later, say, hey, just in case you missed it, boom, hit it again. Because a lot of people are going to miss it, guys. Okay, so you can do that twice and nobody's going to say, oh man, this guy just keeps posting the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Okay. Can you do an area? Should you do an area update? Okay, so I'm talking area for me would be Detroit Metro. So in the Detroit Metro area, Detroit metropolitan area. So for Dale would be doing Windermere area. And then you could do Orlando overall, right? So you do your hyper local and then do your whole city area, okay? And then you could once a quarter or so do a state update, and I would do a state update and a national update just for perspective. And by the way, guys, did you know that nationally inventory levels have risen a little bit in most markets? And it's still a seller's market by a mile. Okay, this is right sizing of the inventory. Inventory should go up. That's good. And this is happening on national level. So it's not just us. We're not just crazy. It's not only us this is happening to, this is happening nationally. And that's actually a good thing. So can you tell that story once every 2 or 3 months? Yes. Okay, so there's a reason to do a real estate post once a month, do an update for the area once a month, and then you can post that and repost just in case you missed it. So now there's 4 posts per month that are good and valuable. Good? Okay, so do you understand the how on market update? Okay, for those of you that were here last week, I sent out a video on how the basics on how to do a market update, what to include in there, and then I sent over a simple sample. Okay, guys, they don't have to be amazing. Mine are not amazing. They get the job done. They don't have to be super heavy produced. Keep them simple, just get them out there. I would rather have you throw something out there that's kind of crappy, almost crappy, semi-crappy, than to have nothing. And the people that are critiquing your video capabilities versus listening to the info, the heck with them. What I say is like, hey, if you think you could do better, show me yours. Most of the time, they won't do it, right? There's still a minuscule percentage of real estate agents that are doing video, guys. That's why I bang away on doing video. Do that on social, okay? So your market update, you're going to do that. This is just your social component. Okay, the next component is You're going to send this out in an email also, which you should be using your CRM for the email. So your market update goes out by email. Does everybody get your social? No. So should you send it out in email also to your sphere one time? Yes. I don't want you sending that twice just in case you missed it. They didn't miss it, they deleted it. Don't make them delete it twice, it'll start to aggravate them. I don't know about you guys, but it bothers me when I'm like, oh, here's that same crap again from the same, yeah. If it bothers me, it probably bothers other people too. Okay. If you don't like it, don't do it to others. There's some rule about that. Okay. So with that said, email. And then the last thing is once a month, you should be sending this out via mail. Hard mail. Lick it, stick it, and ship it. Me be like, Russ, man, that's like, look at how much work that is. Yeah, this market update on a video thing should take you a whole whopping 1 day. If you literally put your head down and send all of them out to 300 people and hand address them yourself in 1 day, mailing that should take 1 day. So you got 2 days work in the whole month to build your business and a very, very small cost. You're like, oh, but when am I going to have time to do? If you can't squeeze 2 days of money-making activities into your business in a month, we got a bigger problem, right? A lot of real estate agents are like, oh my gosh, it takes so much time. This should not take more than a day. Mailing it should not take more than a day, 2 days max. So you block out 2 days, make it happen. Most important thing you can do every single month. And then you can get the other business. When the business comes to you, handle that. Schedule it, block it out. If you don't have a full day to do it, no big deal. Block out 2 hours for video, drop the videos in. Then I start the edit process quick. Let's do it super simple, upload. And then within 2 hours, those things are done. I did 4 videos yesterday in less than an hour. Edited, uploaded, and shipped out to the other people that needed them. Now I've done this a couple of times, but I'm not super tech savvy. It's not my wheelhouse. I don't enjoy it. I'm not great at it. But listen, guys, if I can learn it, you can learn it. Learn it. Find a way to learn it. Okay. Get it done. Okay. So with that said, there's that. So we're talking about the 1-2 punch last week we talked about was what? What was the 1-2 punch? The 1-2 punch.
I forgot.
This is why we repeat, right? This is why I'm like, I don't say it once, I'm going to say it 10 times until you guys are like, I'm sick of Russ saying that. Well, until you're doing it and got business coming to you, we'll keep talking about it. Okay. So the 1-2 punch, super simple. Build your sphere, right? Build your sphere and add value. Okay. So every single month, if you add people to your sphere and you add value to your sphere, that's why it's called the 1-2 punch. I'm going to add people in my sphere, add value, add people in my sphere, add value, add people in my sphere, add value. You're like, well, Russ, what do I do next? Add people to your sphere and then add value. Well, what about what after that? Let's go with add people to my sphere and add value. Some people are like, well, Russ, I don't want to just only work my sphere. Okay, so go pay for a bunch of leads. And where are you going to put them when you get them? In your sphere. It's adding people to your sphere. It's just doing it with a bunch of random strangers. Okay, so we talked about a bunch of ways that you can add people to your sphere. Sorry, I'm a little scrappy this morning. Woke up rough. Feel a little scrappy right now. Add people to your sphere. Okay, how do we add people to our sphere? Number one, do you have your sphere written down? Okay, let's define sphere of influence. If I'm going to count them as a sphere of influence person, it is name, address, phone, and email. If I have those 4 items, that is somebody in my sphere. Now, where they came from, mostly irrelevant. I've got my things that I like. You can have your things that you like. My things that I like work for a lot of people. Got a ton of people out there like, Russ, what they need to do, agents need to do is they need to bang the phones. They just need to get over their fear of phone phobia and start banging the phones. I'm like, and who are you going to call? You got to get people in your sphere. Why are you going to call people in your sphere? To do what? Fleece them? That doesn't make sense. How many times are people in your sphere of influence going to answer the phone if they know you're calling to try to get something from them? They might fall for it once. They might fall for it the second time. The third time, you're getting blocked. But your own mom isn't going to pick up the phone if you bother her and asking her for business every time you call her. Well, I just want to remind you. Like, like, stop doing that, guys. Come on, really? You don't like it when people do it to you. Don't do it to them. Name, address, phone number, email address. Okay. Add people to your sphere. How do we add people to our sphere? What do I recommend on ways to add people to your sphere? What do you think?
Join a club or something, doing things you enjoy.
Do some fun stuff, right? People are like, Russ, this real estate business is really hard, man. It's just so brutal. Like, well, it is because you're not building your business the fun way, right? If you want to add people to your sphere, do it doing things that you enjoy. I'm out and about doing something I enjoy. I'm going to go play golf, which is kind of an oxymoron because it's the most frustrating game in the world, but we love to play it, right? And when I'm out doing that, do I bump into another human? Yes. And they go, hey, blah, blah, blah. I say, I'm a real estate agent. And they ask me, how's the market? And my answer is, you know what? That's a great question. I do a real estate market update every month. You want me to send it to you? Yeah. Give me your info. The guy voluntarily gives you your info every single time. And they're like, well, Russ, does it really work like that? Yeah. So here's how it works. I walk up to the counter at McDonald's and they go, hey, can I take your order? I'm like, yeah, I'd like a Big Mac. And they're like, here's a Big Mac. You want it? And my answer every time is, yeah, because that's what I asked for. And you gave me what I asked for and I took it. That's not weird, guys. That's normal human behavior. So we got to build our business around normal human behavior, right? So when somebody says, hey, man, you want a hamburger? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, here's a hamburger. Okay, thanks. That's how normal people act. Anybody not reacting like that, something wrong with them. Run from them. You don't want them in your sphere. They will ruin your life. Okay? So all kinds of stories about relationships like that out there, and I won't go into them. Okay? So start doing some things that are fun, and while you're doing that, use this technique to get people to add to your sphere. Now you have to strategically add people to your sphere of influence. So if you say to me, well, Russ, I'm going to add people to my sphere. Okay, great. You got one. You good? Nope. How many do you need to add per week? So you got to break that down. How much business do you need to do? So Anthony, how many sales do you want to do in the next year? Close sales in the next 12 months. Anthony's trying to unmute. You get better at it. Push your space bar and hold it. That work? No, that didn't work. Okay, so it works on mine. All right, hold on. I'll help you out here. Beep, beep, beep. There. I just gave you a thing to unmute. No, you're still.
All right. I'm unmuted. Can you hear my gruffy voice?
You gotta be on Zoom more, brother. You got Zoom. You need Zoom training. How many sales do you need to do in the next year?
Oh, am I muted? Can everybody hear me?
Good.
All right. Apologies about that. Thank you very much. I would like to get to that 40, 50 mark.
Okay. You want 40 or 50?
150.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Don't tell them 40. Throw that out to the universe. Universe, like, your wish is my command.
Right.
40 it is. Right. 40 to 50. Cool. Like 50. Okay. So how many people in your sphere of influence do you need to be able to get 50 sales just from your sphere?
One out of 10. So 10x, 500.
500 people in your sphere to get 50 sales. Okay. So do you have 500 people in your sphere of influence?
I do.
You do. Do you have name, address, phone number, email address of all of them?
2 of 3 for most. So I need to work on that. I've been here for 30 years. I should have it for every single human being and friend of a friend and friend. Yes, but in my direct sphere.
So let's be
I'm
clear.
guilty of having
That's
not
ridiculous.
Well,
So
you want high
let's be
res.
clear, you're normal.
I'm guessing he.
Okay, I'm muting Isaac because he's making racket. Okay, so Anthony, you need 500 people in your sphere, name, address, phone number, email address. Okay, and your answer is normal. Every time I ask people and they're like, yeah. No, they don't have it. You got it? Yeah, no, you don't got it, right? So with that said, 500 is your number. So if you don't have 500 people in your sphere, how many people do you need to add over the next 12 months to get to 500?
to get to that. I would need to get to double.
This is a simple math equation, right? So you've got 250 right now.
Yes, sir. That I know I have. Yep.
So you should have about 25 sales coming out of your sphere of influence over the next 12 months. Is that projected? Is that what you're doing?
Projection for doing. Yes, sir.
Projected to do, or are you actually going to do?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break it because I want sphere, and
So
sphere.
you're saying what you're doing right now is converting your sphere at 10% currently. Yes?
I feel like I'm a little over
No.
that. No, so then
No, the
now I
answer
want
is
to adjust that 250 number because I feel like I'm converting this people I talk to. But yes, I need to think more. Keep it
This is
simple
like
numbers.
coaching 101. We got to be clear with where we really are before we can figure out where we're going to move. Okay. And Anthony, this isn't me kicking you in the butt. This
No,
is
no. I appreciate your
This is
time.
me just saying, let's just be clear on
Reality
the
check.
phone, right? I had a guy that wanted to fight me in Houston, and I'm like, okay, so let's be clear. You're full of crap. You're lying to me, which I'm fine with, but the fact that you're lying to yourself, that's alarming.
Yeah.
Right? I can see why you'd want to lie to me because you don't want to look bad, but you got to stop lying to yourself. You got to tell yourself the truth of where you really are so you can do something about it. If we don't face the truth, we can't do anything about it. So where am I really at? Here's how many name, address, phone number, email address I have. And I deliver value consistently every single month in this method. And just doing that consistently will get you closer to that 10%. Now, there's a couple of other things you can do to enhance that, but just doing these things alone makes a massive move in the right direction to get to there. And then at the end of the year, you can say, I have X amount of people in my sphere. I have X amount of sales. If it's under 10%, you got some work to do. If it's 10% or higher, good job. Now all I've got to do is go, okay, well, if I have 250 and I get 25 sales, if I want 50 sales, I need 500. Okay, so for most of you guys, if I had 10 more sales in the next year, that would be amazing. That would be a big deal. At an average sales price of 300 plus in most markets, you're talking somewhere in the range of 80 or 90,000 more dollars in a year. That's a big deal to most people and most families, including mine still. 80 grand is a big deal. Most people think 80 grand is a big deal. So if I'm going to only do that, I need to add 100 people to my sphere of influence over the next year. Ideally, you'd want to do it in the next month or two as fast as possible so that you can reap the benefits from it within this year. Okay. And then work the sphere consistently and you'll have an additional 10 sales over the next 12 months when you get that 100 in. So I could say, okay, I'm going to add 10 people per month to my sphere of influence or 2.5 2.5 people per week minimum. I would say realistic, you probably want to go a little bit faster than that because I want the money now. I don't want the money a year from now. I want to start that process now, not a year from now. Okay. So with that said, gives you a better idea of what you should be focusing on to get sphere of influence business. Yes. More
Hi, Russ.
exactly what you need. Yes.
I
Good.
have a question.
I just saw your hand. I wanted to finish what I was saying there first. So Nicole, what can I help you with?
Apologize. My name is Nicole Salter, and I am on Sean's team. I have a question about the sphere of influence. Why is it important to have their physical address and not just name, phone number, and email?
Hey, Nicole, I want to mail you $100. I'm going to do it right now in the next 10 seconds. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got it? Is it going to get to you? Can I get it to you?
If you don't have my physical address, no.
Huh. Is that pretty simple answer?
I mean, I guess, but if
No, but
if
if I'm going to mail you $100,
there,
I can't mail you $100 without your address. 100% fact. You're like,
okay.
So here's the problem. What you don't believe is why would I mail something at all to them ever, right? So what you're saying to me more is
it's more common. I feel like nowadays it's more common to send emails than letters. Not that it's not just as important. It's
Nicole?
just that I guess what I'm asking is how much weight does it hold compared to everything else?
let me say something to you, okay? And I don't want you to take this inappropriately. This is purely platonic. I love you. I love you, right? Thank you for helping me answer this question because the answer to this question is super, super, super important. And I get this from people all the time. So I'm glad you brought it up. And here's a simple answer. If I push something on social media, do you see it? Maybe.
Not all the time.
Most of the time not, right? Because you got all kinds of crap going on in your feed. That's why I will tell you post it twice and say, hey, just in case you missed it, because a bunch of people missed it. I know that for a fact. Okay. And you see how many people see your stuff, right? Hey, thanks for turning video on. Love it. So second thing is, if I send them an email, how many open the email? I mean, really
Not
good.
every single.
A good open rate is 10%. Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you want a 10% chance of somebody seeing your stuff or a 100% chance of somebody seeing your stuff?
100.
Okay, so if I put something in an envelope and lick it and stick it and put it in the mail, do you get it?
Yes.
And you look at it because you got to open your mailbox, right? And you're like, it's to you. And you open it up and you're like, it's got my name on it. And you look at it, right? And then what do you do with it?
Right.
You throw it in the garbage.
I either keep it or I throw it away.
You throw it in the garbage, right? Well, at least you saw it. I guarantee you saw it, right? And you're like, stupid Russ guy mailing me work. I'll throw that in the garbage. I know what this is. Right. But realistically, we're sending them something, answering a question that they have. So when somebody says, hey, I want a hamburger, and you go, here's a hamburger, they don't go, nah, I'm good. Okay, so listen, we're like this,
Okay.
this business of real estate is amazing if you understand how human nature works. Human nature works when somebody says, man, I'm really starving. I could go for a hamburger right now. And you're like, I got a hamburger. You want it? As a matter of fact, yes. They never say no. Well, let me back up. They rarely say no. The ones that say no, you just asked for a hamburger. I offered you a hamburger. I didn't lick my fingers while I was making it. So what's the problem here? Like, do you really,
Right.
you know, so those people are like, oh, I want some. No, I don't. I want some. No, you know, like, don't mess with people like that. Just let them go. Set them free, right? Set them free. If you love them, set them free. If they come back to you, set them free again, because that means nobody else wanted them.
Meant to be.
Right. So with that said, you want to work with people that want to work with you. Okay. So if you send something to them, they're going to open it probably. They're going to take a quick glance through it. They may get it, they may not get it. But when you're doing this month after month after month after month after month, you are part of their flow. In the ninja selling training system, they will call that flow, which I loved. When I took that training system, I thought, oh, this dovetails beautifully. That's a great way of describing how you are there when somebody's ready for you. Being in the flow with them. Okay. It's like you're going to float a boat down a river. You got to be in the water. Right. So he's like, hey, I want to sell a house. You're not in the flow. They don't, like, you're not even in the river. You don't even have your boots wet. They're never going to sell a house with you. Right. So you've got to be there when they're ready to go. Okay. So that's super, super important. So mail, regular, old snail mail, now, particularly because nobody does it, is super, super important. Almost all the stuff we get in mail right now is crap. So I get anything that's not complete crap, I'm going to look at it. If it's hand addressed, I'm guaranteeing you I'm going to look at it, because all I got stuck in my head is my grandma used to send me $25 for birthday. Let me back up. My grandma still sends me $25 every January for my birthday. I'm 50 flipping years old. She's 95. She still sends me $25 for my birthday, right? We actually made her stop that a couple of years ago. But up until recently, she's like, here's $25. I'm like, I don't need your money, grandma. Let me send you 1,000 back. Every time you send me 25, I'm gonna give you 1,000. Now take that. Okay, so with that said, when I see something, it programs in my head, grandma sending me money, right? So does that work for other people? Uh-huh. It's Pavlov's dogs, man. You ring a bell, they start to slobber. You send a handwritten addressed envelope, they're gonna open it. They will still throw it in the garbage, but they're gonna open it. Some of them that are like, oh, you know what? I need to know this. Quick overview of what's going on in the market. Just so anybody that owns a house needs to know this. By the way, it got delivered to a mailbox. It means you live somewhere. If you don't own the house, you should. So let me help you with that. If you want to talk about what it takes to do that, let's do that. Okay. So mail is super, super, super important. So thank you for letting me pick on you. And thank you for asking the question. And I guarantee 3/4 of people won't do this.
How do you do that?
How do I do that? I write up a quick little letter. Here's a quick
What I
letter.
mean is like, do you ask them for their address?
Mm-hmm.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you got to keep in mind, a lot of the way I build my sphere of influence is by meeting live human beings, because it's way more fun and way more organic.
Right.
So in this system, I'm adding people to my sphere doing things I like, and they go, hey man, how's the market? Great, I'm glad you asked. By the way, here, let me plug in your info and I'll send it to you. Oh yeah, by the way, what's your address too? I'm horrible at keeping contacts accurate. Let me get that too. What's your current address? And they give it to you. Nobody, like, you're having an interaction with two normal human beings. If you walk up to a stranger and say, hey, give me your home address, Nope. That's creepy and weird, right? Okay, so if you're not doing that, then there's a good chance you're going to get their respect and a response, and you're giving them something they want. By the way, every once in a while, I mail it out in hard copy with statistics, and it's just easier for people to see the statistics instead of hoping you see it on whatchamacallit. So every once in they're like, why do you need my home address? Well, if I want to mail you a bomb and blow you up, I need your address. I can't send you anthrax without your address. Let's be clear. I mean, I can Google it, but it's a pain in the ass. And I just want to make sure my contacts are all up to date. And by the way, everybody I know, I send them a $200 bill for their birthday. So if you don't want that, fine. Don't give me your address. And you just make it funny, right? Just have some fun with them. Again, you're having live interactions with human beings. I know it's weird. People are losing that touch on how to do that, but it still works. And it's not like you're asking for something like their firstborn or take them home. Just saying, going to send something to you. I send this update out to everybody in my sphere once a month. I just throw you on that list and make sure you get a copy of it. So you have a hard copy every once in a while. Good. They go, okay. All right. So like, if they don't want to do that, fine. No big deal. Don't do it. I'm cool with that. You want to give me your address? Fine. No big deal. We'll just go our separate ways. No worries, man. If you're worried about me having your address, we got a bigger problem. We got a bigger problem to solve here. So, best of luck to you. Wish you all the best. And you walk away. Like just say, listen, I don't want you to communicate with me. Fine. I don't want to communicate with you anymore either. Thank you. Hey, you just saved me a ton of time. Wasting my time on somebody that's wasting my time. It's fine. No big deal. You don't want to go out with me? Fine. But by the way, when you get a telemarketer on the phone, hang up on him. It's the best thing you can do. Let him go on to the next knucklehead that's going to pick up the phone and talk to him. If there's no way in hell you're a chance of them actually selling anything, don't even pick up the phone. Just pick it, click it, hang it up, moves right on to the next one. Or just pick it up and say, please take me off your list. That's it. Well, but just please take me off your list. Thank you. Please take me off your list. And they have to hit a button, takes them off their list. Okay. That's it. Don't waste their time. Move on. Same thing with you guys. Don't let them waste your time. Move on. You want willing participants that want to be there. I've got something you want. I offer it to you. You don't want it. I run. Okay. So we talked about a couple ways to build your sphere of influence fast. Okay, I'm going to give those to you again. And then next week, we're going to be talking about this again, because there's a bunch more context and a bunch more color commentary goes along with it. One is you want to make sure you're doing contractor list. Contractor list is, hey, by the way, houses break. Somebody asks for a plumber. If you're a resource for a plumber, they go, hey, Russ, do you know a plumber? Yeah, I do. Hey, Russ, can you help me sell my house? Yes, I can. That's a more natural progression. They're getting their plumbing advice from somebody else. Who are they going to list their house with? Somebody else. If I'm their plumber connection and their painter connection and their roofer connection, there's a really good chance they're going to call me when it's time to sell a house. Okay, so that's contractor list, and I can send you the list of 58 different trades that I listed off the top of my head and a quick how to do that. So Sean, I'll send that out to you. I sent it out to Dale and Claudia last week. I'll send you out the quick how to on that. Second one is, what do we call this? Your local color. So you want to be your local color newsman, right? Local color meaning, what's the local flavor? What's going on in your market? So, hey, I just went to this CrossFit gym and this is Pete, the owner. He's a cool dude. Right? So if you're looking for a CrossFit gym, this is a great place to work out, a great family. That's where I met a lot of people I know that I did real estate business with. Sean did a ton of real estate business with people out of the CrossFit gym. Okay. Bike clubs. You go into local places, local restaurants. You get your hair did somewhere cool. That's me I'm talking about. Got my hair done, looking good, right? Get it done, go somewhere cool. So I went to a little Mexican barber shop downtown when Dana was going to chiropractor. It's in Mexican town. And nobody in there speaks English except the guy at the cash register, which I think is funny. And when I had hair that was longer than this, and those guys know how to cut hair. That was pretty cool, right? So with that said, I do, hey, by the way, if you need a great haircut, man, these guys put some really nice lines in, right? Let's go, rock and roll, go. So promote local stuff. So you can build a whole list of different locals and you can add them to your sphere of influence. Hey, by the way, I'm going to promote your business real quick. Give me your info and I'll send a copy of it to you. Right? So you can add people to your sphere doing local things. So if you go somewhere interesting, do something interesting once a week and talk about it, post about it, right? And then add that owner to your sphere of influence. In the meantime, get a contractor list. I'll send you both of those so you guys can work through how to work both of those lists to add people to your sphere. So you could easily add, by the way, in the contractor list, you'll have 4. You're gonna have a high end and you're gonna have a low end. 2 different types of people in the business. High end painter, low end painter. One's gonna do a great job. The other one's gonna do a great job for a really low price, which isn't as nice of a job as the top end painter probably. Okay, and then I'm gonna have a backup for each. So if I'm gonna do painter, I got 4 of them. 58 times 4 is 232. You can have 232 separate contractors in your sphere of influence that you can refer business to. And by the way, some of them should be referring business back to you. It'll come in at a lot lower rate than 10%, but every one of those guys should get your market update too, don't you think? Yeah. Okay. And then the local stuff. So you can start doing local things and promoting local places instead of saying, look at me, I'm a realtor. Hey, I'm Russ, the real estate dude, and I'm at Yellow Dog this week. We're going to a restaurant. We had breakfast here. We had lunch here. And by the way, check out I do a quick post on that. That's the kind of stuff that you can do on social media that makes people click yes. If your social media posts don't get any likes, it's because it's not likable. They don't care, right? If the only likes are me and your mom, it's not good. Right? If you're not getting multiple likes, then it didn't hit the buttons, or they're just ignoring it, right? So find things that people go, oh, wow, that was interesting. That was cool. Hey, man, we went to go-karts with the kids. Check this place out. If you haven't been to go-karts, you got to go to the Lamont style go-karts in Orlando. This place is crazy. Boom, promote that. You start off with, hey, I'm Russ the realtor, and I take the kids to the go-kart place. I don't talk about real estate, I just talk about the go-kart place, but they connect me with Russ the realtor, doing cool stuff, showing you what's in town. I'm a local expert. I know what's going on in town. Here's some of the hot spots. Check this out. Boom. I'm Russ the realtor. See you soon. See you next week with the next cool place. People want to see people living a cool place, a cool life, right? I watch Bear Grylls because the dude makes other people eat weird crap and he goes cool places. Okay. All right, guys, I've already got my next person trying to jump on. Claudia and Dale, there was somebody who was trying to jump on at minute number 23, 24, 25, somewhere around there. And my new rule is if they're after 10 minutes, I don't let them in anymore because then it shuffles everything and messes it up. So if they can't be in within 10 minutes, then I just leave them sitting in waiting land. So if somebody's like, hey, I tried to get in and I couldn't, if you're showing up more than 5 or 10 minutes late, you're missing the story and I don't want to start over. So, and I don't want to disrespect the people that are here. Cool? Good? All right, guys, I got to roll. Next video is already starting. See you soon. I'll save this. If you guys want this, I'll save a recording for it.
Thank you.
Out to you guys.
Next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, same bat channel. Yep.
Next Wednesday.